Hello, one and all, ghouls, goblins, pumpkins, Jack Skellington, whatever. We're in October, baby. October 15th to be precise. We're exactly 16 second. We're some weeks out from Halloween. One of my favorite holidays. But
Yay!
That's besides the point. Welcome to Whispers from the Void. This is episode 6.
Yes.
Oh God, we're getting up there. Almost a double digits, baby. I'm Evan.
And I'm Phil, the Vitesse for the Intimates. Thanks for tuning in.
So, hopefully you guys have been staying up to date with all our episodes. We have quite the selection now. Recently, we just did our interview with Hath, which was fucking awesome. Big shout out to those guys. I was thinking of it working today, but we're pretty open guys. We're pretty open to stuff. So, I mean, if anybody out there, got a band, got some music, you want to send it our way, maybe you want to be on the podcast, feel free to reach out, hit us up from the Facebook page, Instagram. We have a email address, whatever you want to do. Would love to listen to your stuff and, maybe talk to you here. That'd be sweet.
We are open to everything. So, like you said, send us new music. We want new music. We need some. We need our fix.
We're sluts for music, kid. Only the dankest of death metal.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. But anyway, we're going to kind of sidetrack a little bit. Me and Philippe, we met in a particular podcast group, Facebook group, but it's basically from a podcast. Obviously, as you probably already know, from Vox Hops. So as much as we are metalheads, we're also kind of beer dorks. So we're double dorks. We're like dork squared. So we're going to talk a little bit about beers. I will throw this out there. I don't know about you, Philippe. I think you're a little more well-versed than I am, but I am not the greatest when it comes to the brews. I'm trying to brew myself. So far, so good. I've been reading a few things, trying to devise a little bit of a starter kit for myself. But I am, if you're here to hear very good down the depth beer talk for this episode, you ain't gonna get it.
The thing is, we are not like beer expert. Like, if you want some beer expert, like Matt from Vox Hops, he's metal and beer expert for me. Like, with this guy, I learned a lot of things. If you want some more, the podcast Podcrastination in English, with our buddy Steph that we are naming. We are naming this guy a lot on our podcast, but he's a good dude.
Also, we got another guy who does like a beer blog, our boy Ollie.
Oh yeah. Mousse, and he's doing it in French and in English. So there's some in English. So if you are American or whatever, or you talk English and you want a new podcast or a new vlog about a subject, Samus is a pretty good vlog. Shout out Ollie.
Shout out Ollie, Steph, and Matt. Hopefully they'll all probably make it on the podcast one day.
Oh yeah, probably.
Slowly but surely we're getting there. But yeah, so Philippe came up with a pretty good idea. So what we did is we went to our local beer places, and I'm pretty into stouts. He's pretty into stouts, but also you have I think your palate's a little more expanded than mine.
Yeah, it depends. Like, my favorite type of beer are IPAs. Like, yeah. I'm an IPA maniac. Like, there's some IPA that I hate, that I don't like, but some like DDH, the IPA, double IPA, triple IPA, Napa, IPA with pepper in it. I don't care. Like, if this is an IPA, if it's an IPA, it's okay.
Yeah,
that's completely okay for me. But I'm the type of guy, seasonal guy. So for summer, I will prefer like a Gose, a sour, or IPAs, but like very aromatic IPAs. But in winter, I would prefer a little bit stout porter. and something like you take it not too cold, but not hot, not too cold, just like between, just room temperature.
Yeah, I definitely am. I'm not a huge IPA guy. I do like the nice juicies, the New Englands, and I do get some haze here and there. But I'm more of ghost sours. You've extreme. The more extreme, the better. And stouts all day. I'll drink stouts all year. If it's 100 degrees out, I'm probably gonna order one. There's just, and then like I'm really into like the imperial style of brewing, which is the higher ABVs. So that's kind of where I've always landed. It's always been hard for me to kind of get into IPAs. I think it kind of for me has always been everyone kind of does something well, but it's very hard for me to find an IPA that's a banger, you know. But hopefully maybe we'll find it today, because what Philippe's idea was, I'll just let you explain it.
My idea was taking some styles, 3 beers, not too much because we don't want to be too drunk. We're not driving, we're at home, so don't worry. The goal is we're taking 1 Pilsner, 1 IPA, and 1 porter, because there are styles that are basics in both countries. Because IPA, there's a lot of them. There's a lot. Like I said, there's a lot, but we want like something that we can compare. We don't want like, oh, me, I got this double IPA. Hey, I got this triple IPA, quadruple dry hop. We don't want that. We want something simple for this comparison test, taste test, whatever you want to call it.
I think we're mostly going with like first impressions, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Always expand your palates. Never just settle on something. Always try to find something a little different. Go out your little bit of comfort zone. That goes with beer and basically everything else in life. So It was a good idea. So we kind of went back and forth, but obviously we settled on the Pils, IPA, and a porter. Reason we went with a porter and not a stout is because, like I said, I'm a bit of a stout nerd, so I know too much. And the whole point of this is that we're gonna kind of learn a little bit and taste something new and go outside our comfort zone. So, without further ado, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
No, I'd go first. You'd go first for the next.
Sounds good.
So, for my first beer, it was complicated because I'm not well versed in pilsners. Like, I'm not either. I'm not a big fan, to be honest. It's not the beer that I would take every time. If I take a pilsner, it would be like in a bar, because there's no other choice or not a lot of choice, so I will take a pilsner, and because it's hot outside or whatever. And when I was like going at my beer store, I found this little guy. It's called the Waltz from Two Crows Brewing in Nova Scotia, Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Ooh, Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia. So it's not from Quebec, because yes, I'm in Canada, but in Quebec we have a lot of beer, Quebec beer, but some are going like in our province, like this one, because some distributors got some contracts with those brewery. They are like, oh, we can import them in Quebec. So we got like from Ontario, we got like BAOS Brewing, we got Two Crows from Halifax. There's another Two Crows that is in Quebec. Another Two Crows beer, which is the Poliana that I know and that I've tasted, and it's pretty good. But I'm going on that because Pilsner. And yeah, I haven't tasted it. I haven't tasted this beer yet. So I think it's a good time to taste it. Don't you think?
I believe so. Looks good.
Like the color. very Pilsner color, like very
Pilsner cover.
Pils color, like very transparent. Like I would describe it for the persons at home who are listening to the audio. It's very transparent. It's yellowish, very blondie. Like some beers that are sold like in a lot of stores, they're like, oh, this is a blonde. Yeah, but it's a Pilsner before being a blonde. The color is pretty blondie. It's transparent. We got a lot of bubbles. And yeah, that looks pretty good.
Sweet deal. So for my Pilsner, I picked up Lawson's Finest Liquids, which basically, I don't know a lot about the brewery. I think if I can look here real quick. Yeah, it's a Vermont brewery. I kind of knew that. It's a Scrag Mountain Pils. Give you a look right there. It sits at 4.8. It's a chest style Pilsner. Again, so this is a brew that my friend gave me because I was obviously like, I'm trying to figure out what the fuck I'm going to buy, and I don't know anything about Pilsners, but it's pretty much what he drinks. So I'm interested. Again, I don't know a lot about the brewery, and I don't really know a lot about what I'm going to expect. I know the chest style is really good, so
yeah, the Czech. Oh no, mine is not Czech. It's German. Mine is German style.
Tell you right now, that's Pilsner.
Oh yeah, Pilsner. Like for those at home who are not like very well versed in Pilsner and beer in general, Pilsner they are refreshing first. They are transparent a little bit. They are blonde, a little bit transparent. Not like an IPA, for example.
I can see you guys. It's nice.
I see you a little bit. Well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
It's pretty. It is very crisp, very clean, very refreshing.
Yeah.
Very refreshing. Definitely something you could totally have in the summertime. Sitting outside, fucking crushing some drinks, hanging out with some friends, maybe by a fire. Definitely, I would go as far as say like an all year round kind of beer. Very good. Just reading a little bit of the description here, which is always pretty neat. If you don't know, I mean, look at your cans sometimes when you buy beer. They sometimes have nice little descriptions, tell you a little bit about. Sometimes they'll put the hops on there. So this was inspired by traditional Ches Pilsner style. Our house lager is a tribute to the source of Wadefield's town water in the aquifer deep beneath the Scrag Mountain. So tells you a little bit about that. Scrag Mountain, obviously being, these guys are probably at the summit of it, I'm assuming.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting to have some beer that got description. And what I love about beers with cans, the description like text, but I love it when they are like putting the hops, the name of the hops, the name of the malts, the name of the yeast. That's what I love because you can like differentiate what you are using. But yeah, for my Pilsner, like it's a little bit the same description as you. A Pils is not that different. Like maybe there's some difference. Like I can see with the color of yours, it's a little bit more yellow, a little bit more blonde and more transparent. Mine is not that. It's transparent, but not that much. And mine is very crispy. You got this German vibe. Like the German vibe, what I mean about that, it's like a little bit bitter. It's bitter. It's not acid. It's very like, you got this bitterness in mouth which is not too, which is not bad, which is pretty good. Like you take some on summertime, it's a pretty good beer. Like same thing as you, to be honest.
Yeah. Nah, I mean, Pilsners are pretty much a go-to. They're making a comeback. For the longest time, IPAs were basically everybody's craft beer go-to. But funny enough, it's actually harder to brew a good lager. It's harder to brew a good Pilsner. So a lot of breweries are kind of going back to making, a really good Pilsner. Something that's just like really pinnacle. Like obviously when you talk about Lawson's, they reference it as a house lager. So it's basically front and center. This is, first thing they're going to, if you go into a brewery and they say, give me, one of your best, this is probably the first thing they're going to put in front of you.
Yeah, you want to know why not a lot of craft breweries are making lagers? It's because, a little bit course about beers and about yeast. You got 3 type of yeast, like 3 basic type. You got the ale, which is referencing with like pale ale, India pale ale, stout porter, and everything else, which are the yeast that can like evaluate with the fermentation, they ferment like with room temperature stuff. Like you don't have to put it in the fridge and whatnot. And you got the lagers. Lagers yeast. They are fermenting more in cold. So because it's cold beers. You don't taste a Pilsner or a lager hot or room temperature. Like we call this tablet beers. You don't consume some tablet beers, some Pilsner as tablet beers, which is the problem with some grocery store. They're putting some Budweiser like room temperature, and I'm like, that's not how is it supposed to consume. It's Pilsner, it's lager, even if it's a great company, like a big industry company, you have to taste it cold. You don't have to taste it tablet. It's insane to see some grocery store that are like, oh, I don't care about those. Yeah, you don't care because it's a Budweiser, but you have to drink it cold. It's a Pils. You have to drink it cold.
It's one of the funniest things when we would party out here, gets cold as fuck sometimes. You can literally take your beers, you don't even gotta bring a cooler, stick them in the snow, walk away, come back to it later. It's gonna be cold, dude.
When it's minus 40, like big snowstorm, that's the best time to drink a Pils. You put it in the snow, you put it right in the snowstorm.
Just literally in the middle. Is like, let the snow cover it. Just put a flag there so you know where it is.
And then it falls down. Later. It falls down and the snow is yellow. And everyone thinks it's because people are pissing in the snow. No, it's because there is beer in it.
It's because your bottles and cans fucking exploded.
That's why.
Because it was -10 with wind chill. Yeah.
-10. Oh, -10. What? -40.
I wish for -10. It gets worse.
Yes, -40 is like the nemesis of Quebec. You don't want some -40.
I can honestly say it doesn't get that cold here, but you're also closer to fucking that side of the world, so.
Yeah, because Quebec, I will put a map over here. Quebec, we got like 2 types of Quebec. I say 2 types, but
fun, not fun.
If you go on the south, where I live, like if you take the map, south, it's where everyone lives. If you go more on the north side, which is Quebec, north of Quebec, which is where the Inuit are living, with territories and whatnot, like you go in Kuujjuaq, which is like in the opposite sense of where I live. If you go in the opposite sense, it's cold as fuck. You got some -40 like all the time. But yeah. So for Pilsners, yeah, that's what I have to say for Pilsners. Oh yeah, the third type of yeast, it's lambics, white yeast. White yeast, you make lambic, creek, and what I love, that's one of the type that I love. There's not a lot of companies that make good lambics or good creeks.
Yeah.
So I could elaborate more, but it's a little bit more complicated than that.
Just know that it's one of those things I don't think I've ever had. I don't think I've ever had a lambic or anything.
You didn't have a lamb?
I don't
You didn't
think
have
so.
a lambic?
I don't think so.
Dude, you have to come in Montreal one day because I will make you taste the best lambic that I ever tasted, which is the company called La Chune, which is a Belge guy, a Belge cooker, beer cooker, a Belgian brewer.
Belgian boys.
It's a Belgian boy, a Belgian brewer, which was like, I want to go in Quebec because Quebec seems to have good beers. And those type of beer, because white yeast, they are not the type that are fermenting in room temperature or fermenting in cold temperature. They are we don't even know in what temperature they are fermenting because it depends. It depends on the yeast. You got the more known, like the most known, which I can say is the Brett type of beers, because some beers that are not like lambics, like you can have some IPA with Brett IPA, for example, Brett sour and whatnot. I had this beer. It was like a Brett sour. It was like a mosaic sour Brett IPA. It was a pretty nerdy stuff about beers, but it was pretty good.
Hey, that's all that matters, is that it's good. And that's really like the biggest thing is it's all beers basically like anything else in the world. It's all opinionated. So as long as you like it and you think it's really good, then chances are it's, you're doing all right. You know what
exactly.
I mean? I've had some not so stellar brews, but would I say they're bad? Probably not. No, I mean, it's just not my taste, or maybe it was a weird batch or whatever, just like sometimes things happen. It's just like anything else. Brews, you can kind of get away with it. Metal, you kind of can't, because like if it's an album, that's kind of hard to bounce back from. We've talked about it before in previous episodes where, your bands like Trivium, Aborted kind of went through, but you kind of have those bands, they have those weird albums that you just kind of go, I don't know what happened. Ingested was a big one, their sophomore album. You just kind of go, I don't know what the fuck that was about, and then you just kind of move on from there. But with brews, you can kind of, you're there for a purpose. So you're gonna drink it anyway.
The thing is, depends on the brewery, because there's some breweries that are very open-minded with styles. They are making a lot of styles. You can take like Noctem, which is one of the beer that we're presenting later. Noctem, they are making IPAs. They are making like sour. They are making a lot of beers. You can take a lot of brands that are making like porter, stout, IPA, spills, and whatever, because they can do it. They got the space, they got everything to do it. Mm-hmm. But there's some like Beauregard, which I presented a lot on the channel. They are specialized in porter and stouts. Beauregard are specialized in that. No. So when they are bringing a DDH IPA, everyone they are like, what the fuck? I mean, what the fuck? Why are you doing that? And when they're like, you're like pouring it and it's black, and you're like, oh, it's a black IPA, which is not, because nerdy stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it depends. Like with metal, if you're doing that type of style, everyone is going to believe that you are doing only that style. You can't evaluate. And like you said, Trivium, they try to evaluate their sounds, which some people like, some people don't like. It depends. But yeah.
Yeah. It's all taste oriented. So Pilsners, which is funny that we're taking this route because obviously we started off with probably something that's probably going to be the most popular. Most people will probably gravitate towards, because if you're not really a craft beer drinker and like you do drink just kind of liquor, or you just drink, I'll just grab whatever light beers on sale. You're probably, if you're just trying, go grab a Pils, go grab just a craft lager, go grab something like that, because that's the closest thing to what you were already drinking. And that's pretty much how you grow from there. How I started was I basically drank a lot of Sam Adams, the Boston lager.
Yeah.
Sam Adams being a big brewing company out here. And then eventually it got me into, I had always drank Guinness. There wasn't like a thing. I don't know. It's like a thing here. You fucking drink Guinness or not. A lot of guys that I know, I mean, really a lot of people I know just fucking drink Guinness out here. But besides the point, I started out with Boston Lager. I grew up near Wachusett Brewing, which is probably going to be somewhat like Sam Adams one day because they're huge. They're pretty big now, and they're all over New England. So I had they had a blueberry ale that they had, which they really pushed, which is really good. Now they have like all sorts of stuff. I had an oyster cracker stout from them one time, which, believe it or not, was fucking awesome.
Damn.
And from there, it pushed me to, like, I was drinking a lot of the lagers, and then I found Jack's Abbey, which is the craft lager place, an IPL. I don't even know if it's really a thing. Maybe some, where's Kaiser Dwayne when you need him? Because, like, I just need to know. That kind of blew me away. But I don't know if that's a style or if that's just like something that they made up. But anyway, it's really fucking good.
I think that's the
Hoponius brew is what I had from them, and it's really awesome.
I think that's hybrid, to be honest, because we got some IPL.
We got some IPL. I've never heard of it anywhere else.
We got IPL in Quebec. It's not a lot of companies, because if you're just deconstruct the name of the style, IPA, IPL, you got lager, and you got IP from IPA, which is India Pale Lager. Yeah. So the problem is they are putting some Pilsner yeast or lager yeast, whatever. They are putting that, but it has to ferment in cold temperature. So what they are making to do the IPL, I believe, I'm not 100% sure if someone that is listening to me or to us right now can answer us in the comments or whatever. I think they're putting more hops. I think they are making something with the drink. They are putting something to make it look like IPA, but with the lager yeast or the Pilsner yeast. I think that's why you call it an IPL. I believe, in my knowledge.
Yeah, it's a little interesting. I was very blown away by it, and then obviously it brought me into basically everything that I drink now. I mean, stouts, I feel like was always kind of a given. If somebody's always knew that I was drinking Guinness, they always brought me something fucking weird from the liquor store that they saw, but they knew it was a stout. So they were like, oh, Evan will drink it. And then they fucking would bring it for me, which was really cool. But I got to know a lot of stouts that way. And then from there, it turned to the IPAs, double IPAs. Which is really kind of where I stand with IPAs. I drink if I drink an IPA, it's a double, more or less a triple. I think because I like the harder hitters.
I think what you love in IPA of what I'm realizing with you, it's like you love the fruity, you like what it's going to hit a lot. So the deeper, double, triple, I think that's what you are fitting more.
Yeah.
And what I realized with double IPA, because I got a friend of mine that don't like IPAs because of the name, because all the IPA
Because of the name.
because of the name, because the problem is when he tasted an IPA one time and he was like, IPA, they are too bitter. Oh, there's too much bitterness in it and it's too strong, and he doesn't like the taste of it. But I tried to make it taste like a double IPA, which was fruity as fuck. But so fruity, it's not even bitter. Like if you put it on the scale of bitterness, like it's not 0, but it's like if you take an IPA normal, it's like 60-70%. I don't know the scale. I'm not sure the scale. It's pretty strange, pretty vague. But you take this beer, I think the bitterness would be like 40. Not that strong in bitterness. But but because of the name double IPA, he's like, oh, I don't care, it's an IPA. I'm like, okay, fine. You don't know the enjoyment of this world, my friend.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I don't know, where are you at with your drink? Because
I finished it.
Perfect.
But I got another glass because I was like, oh, maybe I won't finish it, but I want to open another. So I got this magnificent glass of Messorem.
I have this Blue Moon glass that I got for free from a local pizza place.
Nice.
So, funny enough, we're talking about IPAs. That's our next style that we're getting into. So that
was a transition. It wasn't arranged at all.
Anyway, I've heard a lot about this brew. Even the guy that when I went to the liquor store today to buy it was raving about it. He said it's one of his favorites that they brought in, and it's from a local brewery here, Redemption Rock Brewing. They started last year. They do some pretty good stuff. They do funny enough lagers. They do a Helles lager. Which is fucking really good. I think that's pretty much what a lot of people know them for. But I think this thing, from everything I've heard about it, is probably going to change the way that people look at them. This is called Offsite. And you can kind of see the can art here. It's pretty sweet too. They're in the woods, a couple with a dog in a tent. It's just a basic IPA. And I think nowadays, especially Worcester being the almost like a hardcore weird little mecca for kind of like microbreweries, it's a bold statement to kind of just come out and say this is like our IPA. This is something that we're gonna do. So I'm very excited to have it. I've never had it before, so we'll give it a go.
Ooh, like the color already. Do you know, like, if it's inspired by West Coast or East Coast, or
that's what I'm gonna go ahead and say. I mean, we'll take a look at that. That looks
West Coast.
Thick. That's a West Coast look.
That looks West Coast.
So a lot of how you can tell is look at the thickness. I don't have a lot of light on my side, unfortunately. But you can kind of just look at it. You can't see through it. When we had the Pilsner, you could kind of look through it. Kind of, as Philippe said, transparent. This, not so much. But again, it's sometimes deceiving because it could also just be something juicy, which sometimes leans more towards New England. And I mean, we'll talk about that a little bit. We'll let Philippe introduce his, and we'll get into kind of the two styles that really, when you talk about IPAs, that's pretty much where we're at.
No problem. So my beer for the IPA segment is the Magnificent Catnip, which is there's a little cat, like he's high as fuck on this catnip. There's some description. The only problem it's in French, so what I will do, which is not a thing that I do too much because it's a lot of work to do, I will do it in French and translate it later because I'm so I just don't care about it. I just want to translate it later.
We need more French. Go ahead.
So, aussi appelée herbacea, cette plante est connue pour son effet enivrant chez les félins. Félin means cats, by the way. De la même façon, nous croyons qu'énormément de houblon peut surcharger nos papilles. En voici une quantité hallucinante. So basically, it's just saying you will be high on hops. That's basically what they are saying. Like, if you got a cat at home, you give him some hops, and it will be high all the time.
You mean catnip?
Yeah, some catnip or hops. I don't care.
Don't feed your cat hops. He won't like it.
This is a message from PETA.
Yeah.
Don't talk about PETA.
Don't go vegan cat on us. Don't start feeding your cat greens because the cat ain't gonna like it.
Mousse.
Yeah, what he said. Ooh, a little foamy.
Oh, it's foamy. It's too much foamy. It's not normal. Okay.
Kind of almost the same. Mine's a little more on the deep orange side.
Yeah, like what I see from my perspective, like I think it's more blonde than yours.
Yeah.
It's not transparent at all, but it's not like a New England IPA, which is like pretty hazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I will explain about that because the IPA came from England as much as the Stout and Porter, but the style came in the United States, and in United States there's two great types of IPA. You got the West Coast, which is more like inspired by the English, because West Coast is pretty bitter. It's more bitter. It's less hazy. It's more like, it resembles a bit to a Pils, but it's more bitter, and it's made with ale yeast. My pronunciation is not good, but yeah. So that's the difference, like between West and East. East, it's more like hazy. New England IPA, they are more hazy, which is Northeast IPA, or what we call NAPA. They are more hazy. I think one of the first that made New England IPA, it was the Alchemist, which is a brewery that I want to taste so much, because the guy was like, I don't want to filter my beer because it's like you take out all the taste of it. So it was like,
that's a big thing too. That's a big thing too.
Yeah, and that's a big thing, because a beer with industrial beer, they are filtering out all of the taste. That's why they are tasting like water, and you drink it like a lot in one night, because they're tasting like water. There's no flavor in it. That's why like IPAs are this is the land to experiment with taste. So that's why you can see, like, if you take other type of IPA with double IPA and whatever, you can have like 5 types of hops. You can have like Citra, Simcoe, and whatever, Sabro, and whatever.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of tastes, a lot of flavors in that. So I would taste mine, but I know I did taste.
I will say the idea of unfiltered comes from, because a lot of people sometimes, when I do introduce them to some different IPAs, or mainly doubles, and sometimes the heavier New Englands, they'll look at it. I'll pour it out in a glass, and they see the little floaties. Well, it's unfiltered, and that's basically, to Philippe's point, it's supposed to have more of the flavor. And really, you're not going to find a lot of craft breweries that kind of filter out. I always find that, everything gets kind of unfiltered, unpasteurized, and whatever, like it's just, they're just going for the full flavors, and it really does right by the beers.
Just like that, most craft beer brewery they are not filtering out their beers because of the flavor. And even if you're doing an IPA or doing a stout or whatever, they're not filtering the beers because you put out the taste. There's no taste in it, and that's a shame. You want to taste the beer for the taste, not taste it because there's higher alcohol, or you can taste, or you can take more. So yeah, mine I can say already. It's a little bit fruity. It's more like herbal. It's more bitter with herbal taste. Pretty much like herb, like catnip.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know why the name is catnip because of that, because it's pretty herby. It's an herby beer. Like it's pretty herb. But I love it. It's like one of the first Noctem that I've tasted, and Noctem, they are known for their cats, because I can show you a lot of cans of Noctem. They are most known for their cats on their beer. It's their brand. It's the brand of Noctem. It's the cat.
So far, I'm having a bit of a struggle. I think I'm gonna go with, this is more of a juicy. It has a lot of, I wouldn't say fruit flavor, but it's slightly bitter. And it has, I'm trying to think of the hops in my head, and I can't quite think of it. It's not a Citra. It's Samco or something like that. I can't quite remember. That's another thing that's going to happen to you. And if you start drinking craft beer, you're going to start thinking about all the fucking hops in the world that they're brewed with. And then you're suddenly going to realize you've fallen in love with a certain hops, and that's the only hops you like. But it's very good. It's very good. Does it live up to the hype? I don't know if I'm the person to ask, because like I said, I tend to be on the heavier side of things. As far as an IPA goes, though, very solid. I hesitate to say, but it's better than most of probably the doubles I've had. Very solid, very good. I'm just kind of reading the can. Basically, what Redemption Rock says, I don't know if they say it on other cans, but this is what they say on this one. We're built on the idea that life should be about celebrating great beer and good times with friends. Don't we all?
Oh.
And doing it all with a strong sense of camaraderie and community. Enjoy this beer with a good friend. How you doing, Philippe?
No.
Or several, and remember to put the good feelings it gives you back into the world. So obviously, like I said, this is probably a brew for this brewery, Redemption Rock, that they're very strong about, and they're very satisfied with. Being that they're going to make quite a bold statement. I gotta say, they've come a long way. I'm very impressed. I think they're doing some good stuff. You're not really gonna get much more of a solid IPA. This is really for just all sorts of your IPA geek and things like that. You're very I would almost say it kind of hits the nail on the head. It's just straight to the point, beautifully done. Gives you what you're looking for. It's not trying to play tricks with you, which sometimes you get different IPAs and things like that. They will add certain things, different additives, lactose being one of them. I'm team lactose. Shout out to Craig Thorne. But it is. Like sometimes they do a little bit like crazy things to try to pull themselves from the pack. I almost feel like a brew like this, just a straight up IPA that's so well done, basically gets you away from the pack more easily than trying to come up with some crazy additives. It does a very good job. So shout out to Redemption Rock. I can't wait to see what next year has for you guys. Obviously this year being a shit show. they've done well so far.
Seriously, you're telling that like the description and whatnot, and I'm like, I want to come in mass just to take a beer with you. Or no, not one beer, like a lot of beer.
The can says several.
Several. So which means 10.
Yeah.
Like I want to be drunk that night.
I've always felt pretty lucky being from Mass that I mean, I guess a lot of people say it kind of is funny. Like craft brewing started, you're either talking about Colorado with Blue Moon, True Brewing, places like that, or
Stone?
you're talking about Stone. You're talking about excuse me. I'm talking about Mass, Harpoon, Boston Lager. Sam Adams. Sam Adams being a huge one. East Coast especially, you know, you can't find a place. There was a time, I'm pretty sure, where you could go a lot of places close to the East Coast, almost Midwest, and you were going to find Boston Lager on tap. It was awesome. And like they did, you know, Jim Cook did such a fucking good job. They've come out. They do a couple IPAs. They do their own IPA, which I do see some people drinking. I see my soon-to-be father-in-law drinking it a lot. They also do what's called a Brick Red, which is like your red ale, which is really good because you can make black and tans with it. Or you're getting your Guinness and shit. So that's, again, a big thing around here. But they did a fantastic job. So it's nice to know that, you know, I come from a place, and I'm sure Philippe does too. You know, we both come from places where craft brewing has basically kind of taken off. You know,
I think
sort of little strongholds of craft brewing.
Quebec, it's most known for their beers because there's like a lot of craft beer brands. Maybe like it's oversaturated, and the problem is when the market is oversaturating, there's too much like brands are doing the same shit, and I think this is the problem because you got those brands that are like going up from the lot. Like you take Messer M, for example, they are most known for the IPAs. You take, for example, Beauregard, most known for the Porter and Stout. You take Noctem, most known for the cats. You take a lot of those. But
yeah, fuck that brews. The cats, they're awesome.
The cats are better than the brews. No, to be honest, it's not a joke because I wait each time that Noctem is putting out a new beer. I just wait for the cat to show up, and I'm like, oh, what cat is gonna be?
That looks like the cat that's in the meme where it's like he puts something on its head and it fucking goes back into like that galaxy kind of filter there.
You want
know
to
what
be?
I'm talking about?
You want to know something strange? I think you described one of the cans of Noctem.
Yeah.
I think
Jesus.
I'm not sure
It's
of
a
the
meme.
galaxy.
The can is a meme.
So yeah, in Quebec, we are very lucky because we got a lot, even like too much to make like there's too much brewery, to be honest, and it's not a bad thing. The only bad thing in that, it's like the only bad thing of having too much brewery is like they're doing the same shit. So you're like, oh, okay, that is the same that this brand or whatever. But there are more that are experimenting with some stuff, like doing some IPA with yeast from Lambic family or whatever. And that's what I love of some of those brands. Like some will like be known for their experimentation with beer. Some will be known for the market, for their brands. Like Noctem is most known. It's not most known for their beers. It's most known for their cats. That's the thing with Noctem. Their beer is fucking good. but it's most known for the cats. You take a Noctem for the cat, to be honest.
Yeah.
You don't take it for the beer.
We have one very similar. I would say Wormtown. This is probably sacrilege, but man, I love that brewery. Wormtown Brewery is very cool. I'll bring it when the brew actually comes out. But they do one that I really love. It's called Buddha's Juice.
Okay.
It's a 9.5 double IPA.
Damn.
And it's actually brewed with a flower that only grows in the Himalayas.
Damn.
Which is pretty fucking sweet. And I love it. But the only problem I have, and much like I have with like Treehouse, is that it's become such a cult favorite that now I often see, and maybe it's just because, I'll say this, they're both fucking amazing breweries. Treehouse especially is so well known. I feel like between brewers, you know, and they do everything so good. Wormtown does everything so good. I mostly have a problem with the people. Fucking, like, that just can't, they just fucking, like, they just can't get off of, like, the fact that it's just instantly, because it's a Wormtown, it's the greatest thing since fucking water. Like, they do. Like, I swear to God, man, like, sometimes I see some people and I'll try to get recommendations and it's literally just Wormtown. All right, well, have you ever had anything else? Because, like, there's a different world out there, you know?
No, because
like,
it's better.
Different things. It's tough. like I've had this with like Treehouse people. Like, if you know the beer Julius, you maybe know what I'm talking about. But if ever you ask people around here what their favorite kind of juicy IPA is, it's probably their answer. And it's a testament to how great it is, because it is. It's fucking awesome. Too often than not, though, I find people that are just like, I don't know, they just talk about how everything else is not that. And it's like, well, I mean, yeah, it's kind of the thing. Like, that's supposed to be, you know, you're supposed to try other things, I would hope. But, I mean, good for them. They found recipes that work for them. They found things that work for them, and they use it to their favor. And I mean, like I said, it's good stuff. You know, I just wish that most people who tried craft beer around here kind of just, you know, tried more things. Like, you know, expand yourself. Don't just settle on something. Like, go ahead, you know, have something a little different. Like, you know, I gotta tell you, this offsite IPA that I'm having, it's way out of my comfort zone, but it's really good. It's really good. It hits the spot. Like I said, it's fucking, as far as IPAs go, it's nail on the head. It does a great job. It would be nice to kind of, you know how you talked about how breweries have that saturation of there's so many, and so many people do so many different things. I almost feel that way with craft beer drinkers. People who have them, they need a little more, they need to kind of expand. We need people to kind of go out of their comfort zone. You need to go try other breweries, because it's not just that those breweries are awesome. Those breweries are top tier. They're great. But you gotta go try some other stuff, man. You gotta see the world. You gotta see another hops. You gotta see a different style. You gotta do X, Y, and Z. Part of the reason why we're doing this today, you know, to try to get us to, you know, push us to want to try something new. You're gonna be happy in the end, because obviously you're gonna try some different things. Maybe you're gonna find that you like something that you don't like. But hey, if you don't like it, then whatever. Maybe you don't like it, and then, you know, you kind of know where you stand.
So, the last beer, we are in the segment of porter, my friends. So I will go with a brewery, a known brewery from the east of Quebec, which is called Gaspésie. And it's called Focus. Focus, I said.
Focus.
It's called Pit Caribou, la Gaspésienne numéro 13. Or, in good English language, the Gaspésienne number 13, Robust Porter, which is clocked at 6.2%. Pit Caribou is a very known brewery in Quebec. Like if you are going in Gaspésie one day, you have to take some Pit Caribou. Mm-hmm. And so I was thinking, what porter do I take? Because I wasn't sure of the porter. And because a lot of porter that I know, they're like a porter with that type of style and that type of style and some mixing and whatever. And I didn't like it. So I was like, oh, let's take that porter instead, which is pretty standard. So pouring time. It's black. A little
black
bit
my
like
soul.
Black as my soul, like I say all the time.
Black as my soul.
Black as the soul. Black as the soul. Oh, it's black metal. It's black metal.
It's so black.
It's so black. I need to talk about Lord of the Rings. Golgoroth.
Dude, I would defend Helm's Deep.
Sauron.
For mine, I have another local one. Listen to that crack, baby. If you can't tell by now, these beers are starting to get to us.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do our best. So I always like to drink my stouts and porters in a stein. This is from Stonecown Brewery.
Ooh.
Honestly, I don't know why, but I always gravitate towards the steins when I'm drinking the dark stuff. I don't know why. It just kind of, for me, kind of tastes a little better. I don't know why. But anyway, I have a brew here that is literally a couple yards away from me. It's Flying Dreams. This is the Park Ave Porter. I live basically right off of Park Ave. This is a brewery which is attached to a restaurant right now. That does pretty well. It's called Flying Dreams. Man, the can doesn't really tell you a lot. This is a smooth porter with tantalize your taste buds with layers of cocoa, oats, and coffee. Pretty much when you're talking about porters, that's kind of what you're looking at. You're looking at almost a coffee kick. You're looking at almost, your cocoa and oats are pretty prevalent in those types of styles. It's how they apply them that really separates them. Also, ABV. This does not have the ABV on it. So I'm not sure where it sits. But really, I'm not huge on Flying Dreams. I've never really had it. So I will say that I'm not a expert. That's the other thing about the Stein. It fits the whole beer.
It's the same thing.
Small little pleasure in the world,
You want to know why I prefer those glasses? Beside, I love this glass, the Teku glasses, but the pint are better because this one is 500 millimeters. It fits perfectly in that. It's going over there with my finger. Over there. Yeah. Precisely. They calculated. They are we'll make that so that glass like that so you can have 500 millimeter precisely. But yeah, I've tasted mine, and coffee, you can taste coffee, a little bit of sweetness, a little bit chocolate. Like, it's not that different of a stout, but the only difference that I can make, it's not too foamy. I can see it like that. I won't show it on the camera because I'm not sure that you will see it, or I can try. No, it doesn't work. It's bubbly. Like, I see the bubbles, like, just popping in the beer. It's pretty special, to be honest. And
Yeah, yours might be a little more carbonated than mine turned out to be, which actually is something I prefer.
yeah, porter, difference with stout, they are more bubbly. If you have ever taken a Guinness, you will understand that Guinness. Why is it a stout? Because they are putting some azote. I don't know if you're saying that in English. I'm not sure.
Nitrogen?
Yeah, nitrogen. Some nitro. If you are putting some nitro in the beer, like the Guinness, the bubble is not going up, it's going down. It's fucked up because it's going up, it's going on the glass, on the side of the glass, and it's going down. So when you see the foam going down and not up, that means because of the azote, of the nitrogen. That's why. And there's more explanation that you can find on the internet, but yeah, that's what I learned about Guinness and why they are that special. It's because of the nitrogen they're putting.
So with Guinness, they have if you get a can, and Guinness has a special glass too. They have the little nitrogen ball. When you open up the can, you're going to get a loud crack, and the foam is very thick. It's a very thick foam. A lot of breweries have taken to doing a style like Guinness. Excuse me. Most notably, Greater Good does it's called the Good Nitro Moon, which is a 10% porter. But it basically is brewed with nitro, and or the canned or so more. Oh God, I'm fucking that up. Yeah, it's either canned with nitro or in a keg with nitro, and it kind of just gives it a nice head. And that's what you look for with Guinness, is you want the nice head to it. And I mean, Guinness is like a lower ABV stout. It's like 4.2. It's nothing crazy. It's a particular taste. I'll give you that. It's a very particular taste. It doesn't have a very, in my opinion, not a huge chocolate kind of feel.
No,
almost
not at all.
Bitter. It's like a bitter stout.
I think that's an experiment that we can do one day.
Yeah.
It's like you take a Guinness from Mass and you take a Guinness from Quebec, and I think there would be maybe not that a difference, or maybe a little bit difference. I think that's what we can do, like for another episode. Just make a taste test of Guinness. That could be cool, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, you know what's cool is I also have access to they have a brewery here now too. Which is called, I think it's called Blue Moon. No, sorry. Oh, fuck. No, it's a different, they have a brewery in Maryland now. Like a sister brewery or something that they do. Blue Moon's something entirely different.
Belgian Moon.
Yeah, no, I can't quite remember. I had it once, and honestly, it wasn't that good. But,
You want to know something? Guinness, because there is in Maryland like a beer from Guinness. It's a blonde. It's a blonde with nitrogen in it. Like I think it's the cream ale, and I've tasted it, and it was horrible. Horrible.
Yeah, I didn't have that one. I had their
Don't taste
they
it.
had like a porter from there.
Don't taste it. It's horrible. Hey, dude, I'm seeing the hour like passing by, and I'm like, I think it's most time for the after party. So,
yeah, we're getting there. Funny enough, we'll advertise it. But if you guys out there ever want to come hang out with us or other cool folks, there is on Thursdays when we record a Vox and Hops Thirsty Thursday after party, which I host. I've typically been the host for most of the after parties, and now most of the ones where Matt's not around. It's for another. He is obviously a part of the Vox and Hops podcast. Blah 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 blah. You all know the drill. But if you guys want to come hang out with us, talk metal, talk beers, feel free to stop by. Join the Facebook group. Listen to Vox and Hops. We're all fans here, but we're also, we're just two guys trying to have some fun. So by all means, feel free, message us. We'll help you, we'll help you through the process. We'll get you in, and would love to hang out with all of you.
Yeah.
Do note that it is mostly a lot of English being flown around, but I mean, we're all cool. Nobody, you don't have to be totally English all the time. I mean, obviously, as you know, Philippe is probably half and half at this point. He's mostly French.
Hello, comment ça va?
Makes it work. Don't feel shy. Come through, hang out, and love to share a beer with you.
So, in conclusion, taste beer, drink beer with moderation, but drink it. So that concludes our episode about beers. I am Phil.
I am Evan.
And thanks for watching, guys. See you next time. Ciao!
Ciao!